dropping stacks and never looking back. Find out how some of the biggest stars in basketball balled out with their first NBA check. Learn how some got their pinky ring froze and others got their accounts froze. From school to the big leagues, let's take a look at how some iconic players divulged their earnings upon getting signed. Harrison Barnes is first up on our list. And frankly, this guy had the right idea when it came time to spend his first big check. Barnes first came into the NBA back in 2012 after a successful time with basketball in high school and then in college, before he would go on to have a net worth of $23 million playing for teams such as the Dallas Mavericks and Sacramento Kings. We rewind to 2012 when Harrison was coming up in the NBA draft. When draft night came, Barnes signed to Golden State. What he did with his first check may seem so simple, but he had his sights set on comfort. Upon getting his first taste of financial stability, he went on straight to a furniture store and picked out the bed of his dreams. He took his sweet time to making sure to test every bed they had in store until he found the one. Barnes later stated he wanted to choose the bed I want to sleep on. Growing up, having a nice bed was something I always wanted. Well, hey, he won't be sleeping on the wrong side of the bed ever. Speaking of championship rings, the King LeBron James was selfless when it came to spending his first check. Prior to being one of the highest paid athletes of today, over half of his wealth is all thanks to Nike. James had entered the NBA draft back in 2003 and signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers. At 18 years old, you can guess a few things a kid that age would want after cashing in his very first multi-million-dollar check deal with Nike. Sure, he could have spent it on a brand new car, clothes, or even jewelry, but nope. LeBron wanted him a few homies to spend a day at an amusement park, only getting $2,000 out in cash for the fun. James grew up pinching pennies and stacked his money rather than spending it. After all, $2,000 is nothing compared to the other millions he had sitting in the bank. Sources said James has never been reckless with spending when money comes in. A humble king just wanted a day out with friends. Since we're on the subject of friends, let's see what LeBron James's good friend Dwayne Wade bought with his first big check. Dwayne entered the league in 2003 and now has a net worth of $70 million. But before he went on to spend most of his career winning championships and hold the record for most points and assists for Miami, he had to get his drip on point. After copping his first check, Wade already had his heart set on his dream car, a customized Escalade. But not any regular Escalade. No, Wade spared no expense when it came time to customize his electric blue Escalade EXT to his liking. His dream to one day own that car dated back to when he attended Marquette University, when he first caught a glimpse of his dream ride when he was walking down the street. The second he got money, he fulfilled his longtime dream and rode off into the sunset. Not everyone is as humble or frugal with their spending habits like Shaquille O'Neal. Within only an hour of being signed, Shaq went on a $1 million shopping spree. First things first, he had to get himself a ride, and he dropped a bag on a brand new $150,000 Mercedes. He didn't leave mom and dad out either. They all got matching ones. The remaining amount went to pay off his parents' home and, of course, copping some ice for himself, or as Shaq says, what all the homeboys gotta do, buy rings and diamonds and earrings and this and that. Funny enough, he got a call the next morning saying he was $80,000 in debt. But of course, it was short-lived because more money was already flowing in. Keep in mind, some of these players' first purchases they ended up regretting later on. Who made an impulsive purchase without doing his research? I'm talking about Ben Simmons and his first big spend. Ben came into the draft in 2016 and was the #1 draft pick. When he came into his millions, he had 2 fluffy Savannah cats on his mind. However, fluffy doesn't always mean friendly. Ben first got the female cat for $4,000 and quickly figured she needed a friend, so he spent $6,000 for a male companion. Simmons admitted the female cat was calm before she was introduced to the male cat, who was wild and would crawl and scratch at him. It didn't take much time before both cats would fight and be reckless around his home. He told sources purchasing them was the worst decision he ever made. Soon after, he sent both cats back and lost out on the $10,000, but his safety was more important than his love for exotic animals. When Andre Iguodala came into the draft in 2004, He was the 9th pick selected and quickly got signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. His first contract was a 4-year deal for a whopping $9 million. Before he saw money from the NBA, he recalls a loan company lending him $25,000, and what did he do? 20-year-old Andre went straight to Nike Town and bought multiple pairs of Jordans. He later told a source that when he used to work in middle school, he only made $10 to $11 an hour, and seeing that big check, he didn't know what to do with all of it but spend around $3,000 on shoes, which seemed like millions to him. His first purchases may have been small, but he was on his way to making big, savvy investments with companies like Zoom. As a rookie, Andre knew he needed better spending habits, so he sought advice from teammates who were smart with their money on top of getting a few books about investing. In 2018, a young prospect who played for Oklahoma would soon be the only player to lead the NCAA with most assists and highest points during one season. This curly-headed kid would soon be signed to the Dallas Mavericks, but soon after be traded to the Atlanta Hawks for a 3-year deal for $15 million. I'm talking about the one and only Trae Young. It was only natural for Trae to go big for his first payday. He quickly took to Instagram as he cashed out on an Audi R8. This luxurious car racked in around $138,000, but by the time he was done modifying it, it totaled in closer to $200,000. His teammates would soon decide to make a few modifications themselves. They ended up pulling a prank on Young as a rookie and filled his car up with popcorn. Oops, I guess he got another detailing fee added on, but obviously he has more than enough to spare. Since we're on the topic of up-and-coming young stars making their splash in the NBA, it's only right that we mellow it out with this next star and how they went big with their first big check. We're tapping in with LaMelo and seeing how he balled out with his first big bag. Coming from a family of ballers and a dad who made his mark in the NBA all those years before, it only made sense that Melo was one of the first drafted in the 2020 season to the Charlotte Hornets. But before he went on to be named the 2020-2021 Rookie of the Year, let's see how he went big with his first grand payday. After he signed, Melo went straight to the Ice Bank to cash out $14,000 on custom-made grills, and the jeweler claimed it was the largest amount of diamonds he put on a single piece. With an iced-out mouth and immense talent, Melo continues to make his milestones in the league. Let's rewind to the previous year's rookie, Ja Morant. Morant signed with the Memphis Grizzlies, and along with that sign came a grand payday. And with that payday, Ja accomplished a lifelong dream off the court when he was able to buy a brand new Dodge Charger SRT for his dad. In addition, he passed on that blessing to his mom as well. That's right, Ja had his mom riding in style with a brand new Audi R8. A heartwarming video of his parents surfaced as they jumped at joy with the surprise gift Ja had for them. Bling, cars, and everything in between is what most players dish out on. But what happens when someone indulges a little too much? That was the unfortunate case for NBA star Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert was best known for his time spent with the Washington Wizards in the early 2000s. His spending habits dug him into a hole so deep he soon earned the nickname Agent Zero. How did he end up in such a big rut? Prior to being drafted in 2001, he took it upon himself to take out a loan and quickly spent thousands of dollars on jewelry, TVs, new cars, and stereo system. Arenas took out the loan expecting to be one of the first-round picks, but he ended up getting drafted in the second round. He landed a $330,000 rookie deal, and by the time taxes were taken out, it was a far less amount than he anticipated. As a result of his actions, he was strapped for cash and could only spend around $500 per month. Just a mere $500,000 was all he had to stretch over gas, his girlfriend, and their 2 dogs. Arenas told reporters to save money on gas, he would sleep at the arena overnight, sometimes for a few days on end. His struggle wouldn't last forever, because in 2008, he ended up landing that multi-million-dollar deal he long wished for. Safe to say, his lesson was learned and he's better at managing his money now. Some players are more fortunate than others when it comes to straightening out their finances upon getting signed. And luckily for Miles Bridges, he had some help getting his money in order. He got picked up by the Charlotte Hornets in the 2018 draft. The Hornets had hired financial advisors who were NBA players themselves. With a team standing by to guide him with his spending, he took a few $100,000 and put it towards a new Range Rover as well as a home for his mom. In addition to those purchases, he wanted to get himself something to make him fit in as a teammate. He went straight for a roly with a dab of ranch. I'm not talking about just any Rolex either. No, I'm talking about a $30,000 gold Prezi. He admitted later on he wasn't even into jewelry himself, but going into the NBA, everyone gets a watch so you seem more presentable. Ever since he got a taste of finer jewelry, he started his very own collection and bought a few custom pieces afterwards. Big thanks to the Hornets for hiring advisors for these newcomers.